It started with something as small as a notification. Just a simple ding on her phone. She was in the shower, and I swear I wasn't trying to snoop. But the sound, it caught my attention, because it wasn't the usual text tone I'd heard 1,000 times. It was different, sharp and short, almost like a reminder of something she'd forgotten to hide. When I picked up her phone, the screen lit up, and there it was, a photo. One she'd forgotten to delete. I remember standing there, frozen, hearing the shower run behind that thin wooden door. Steam hissed from the edges like the room was trying to swallow its own secrets. Her phone felt heavier than it should have, like it knew what it was hiding. I wasn't planning to open it. I really wasn't. But curiosity is a dangerous thing when you already suspect something you don't want to believe. My thumb hesitated on the screen, heartbeat sinking with every drop of water hitting the floor. The photo opened before I could think. It was her, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Soft, almost shy. But it wasn't the smile that stopped my breath. It was the arm around her. A man's arm, just visible enough to know it wasn't mine. They were outside somewhere, maybe a cafe or park. Couldn't tell. The lighting was warm, too perfect to be accidental. Someone had taken that picture carefully. Intentionally, I kept staring, trying to find a reason. A family friend, a colleague, coincidence. But my chest already knew what my mind refused to accept. She hadn't just forgotten to delete that photo. She had kept it. The shower stopped. That sound, so normal, so harmless, suddenly terrified me. I locked the screen and placed the phone exactly where it was, like a criminal wiping fingerprints. When she stepped out wrapped in a towel, she smiled at me carefree, like nothing had changed. But everything had. She said, "You okay? You look pale." I forced a laugh. "Yeah, just tired." My voice cracked halfway through the lie, and she didn't even notice. The next morning, everything looked normal, but nothing felt normal. She hummed while making coffee, the same tune she always did on Sundays. I sat at the table pretending to scroll my phone, pretending not to remember the photo burned into my head. When she handed me my cup, our fingers brushed. Her skin was warm, familiar, and yet, for the first time, I felt like I was touching a stranger. She asked, "You working today?" I nodded, unable to meet her eyes. If I did, I might have said something I couldn't take back. She left for the grocery store an hour later. I told myself not to do it. I really tried. But temptation doesn't knock twice. It just walks in when your heart is already weak. I picked up her phone again. Same passcode. Same wallpaper. But this time I searched deeper. Into folders, backups, hidden albums. And there it was, a locked folder named Work Stuff. She didn't work in media, or photography, or anything that needed work stuff. My hands shook as I opened it. There weren't dozens of photos, just 3. But each one said more than words ever could. The same man, same warmth, same secret. I wanted to know who he was. The photos didn't show his face clearly, just enough to recognize patterns. A watch, a ring, a car reflection in one of the shots. So I did something stupid. I called a friend from her office. Quiet favor. Someone who owed me one. When I described what I'd seen, there was a long pause on the other end. Then a sigh. And just 2 words. "Oh, him." That tone told me everything I needed to know. And everything I didn't want to hear. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound in the house felt louder. The clock ticking, her breathing beside me, even the wind against the windows. Around 2 a.m., I slipped out of bed and drove. No destination, just movement. The road felt safer than my thoughts. Streetlights blurred by like ghosts of every truth I was afraid to face. I replayed my friend's tone. Oh, him. The way she said it carried history, maybe even pity. Who was he? How long had he been in my story without me noticing? By morning I had a plan. I went through her social media. Not the obvious posts, but the ones buried deep in comments and tags. People forget the internet remembers everything. It didn't take long. A man who liked every photo she'd ever posted in the last year. No comments. No words. Just quiet approval like he was watching from the edges. His name meant nothing to me at first. But when I searched it, a photo appeared. Same watch, same smile, same world I'd been shut out of. He worked with her. Marketing team. Same office. Same city. Same lunch breaks I never questioned. I told myself I just wanted to see him. Nothing more. To understand what kind of man could take someone else's wife without a second thought. So I waited outside her office that afternoon. He came out laughing with a group of coworkers, phone in hand, jacket over his shoulder. He looked ordinary. That was the part that hurt the most. Not a villain, not a monster, just a man who'd been given something that wasn't his to have. When our eyes met, he didn't recognize me. But I recognized the look, the same comfort I used to see when she looked at me. And in that single moment, the truth wasn't hidden anymore. It was alive, breathing right in front of me. That night, I didn't speak a word. She noticed. She always does when something shifts in my tone. But this time she pretended not to. We ate dinner in silence. Forks scraping plates. Two strangers rehearsing the choreography of a marriage that no longer existed. I waited until she went to bed. Then I sat in the dark living room, staring at her phone on the table. It wasn't about proof anymore. It was about courage, the kind I'd been avoiding for far too long. When I finally went to our room, she was scrolling through that same phone. My chest tightened just seeing it. I sat down on the edge of the bed and said, quietly, "Who is he?" She froze. No confusion. No surprise. Just a pause that told me the truth wasn't a secret anymore. It was a confession waiting to be spoken. Her voice broke. "He's someone from work." I nodded. "I know." She looked at me like a cornered animal. Guilty, ashamed, terrified. "I was lonely," she said. "I didn't mean for it to go that far." My hands were steady, but my heart was not. I wanted to yell, to curse, to throw every year of our life back at her. But I just sat there and whispered, "Then why did you keep the photo?" Her eyes filled. "Because it was the last time I felt wanted. And for a moment I didn't know who to hate more, her or myself." She reached for me, but I stepped back. I needed air. I needed distance. The room felt too small for both the truth and the lies we'd been living in. "I don't know what you want me to say," she whispered. "Say nothing," I replied. "I've heard enough." I walked out, not because I stopped loving her, but because I needed to remember who I was before all this silence began. As I closed the door, I heard her start to cry. Not loud, just quiet enough to let me know she understood it was over. Outside, the night was cold and clean. The same streets I'd driven through in confusion now felt different. Lighter, though emptier. The truth had finally cost us everything. But at least it was ours now. The sun came in too bright. It always does the morning after your world changes. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the two untouched coffee mugs she'd left behind. Her keys were gone. So was the sound of her humming. The silence didn't feel peaceful. It felt heavy, like the house itself was holding its breath. Every photo on the wall looked staged now, moments from a movie that ended overnight. I tried to eat something, but the food tasted like nothing. I kept replaying her words. It was the last time I felt wanted. They hit harder in daylight, because maybe I'd stopped trying long before she did. Around noon, my phone buzzed. A text from her. Just 2 lines. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break us. Please don't hate me. I typed 100 replies in my head. None of them sounded right. Hate wasn't the problem. I could forgive her eventually. What I couldn't forgive was the silence that came before all this, the quiet pretending, the missing honesty that killed us slowly. I didn't text back. I deleted the message and stared at the blank screen until it dimmed. Some endings don't need words. That evening, I walked to the park near our old apartment. Same bench where we first talked about marriage, back when love felt effortless. I sat there watching people pass by, laughing, arguing, living, and for the first time in months I didn't feel angry, just aware of how fragile everything is when you stop noticing each other. I took a deep breath and whispered to no one, "I'll be okay. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday." The sky turned orange, and for a brief second, the world didn't feel broken anymore, just real.
If stories like this speak to you, about love, betrayal, and the things we never say out loud, then subscribe to Secrets and Silence. Because here, secrets speak louder than words.